Welcome to our Ravens post-game report. I am your host, Brian H. Waters, Fox Sports 1340. The Ravens drop another close game right at the end, unable to get it done. Ravens fall to the Giants 27-23. Now, let's take to Twitter. Beginning of the game, Ravens come out firing. So many people are happy that Mark Trestman is no longer the Ravens offensive coordinator. In fact, everyone's excited. Marty Ball is coming. But then, as time starts to shift, you get to see Twitter start to shift. And now they're tweeting, it looks just like Mark Trestman is back on the field somehow because the Ravens offense fell apart. Joe Flacco, his offense missed 20 Pro Bowl selections. When you look at Yonda and you look at Steve Smith and others, all these guys not in there. That's a lot of possible guys who could have made a difference in today's game. But then the Ravens defense just couldn't get it done. They were ranked third coming in to this game. But quite frankly, Odell Beckham Jr., he proves why he is considered by many one of the best receivers in football, having an outstanding day. Let's not forget, Jimmy Smith went down early with a concussion. Everybody knows the New York media tried to draw something up. Smith said that if they both were physical players, however, if there were some hits after the whistle, there would be a fight. Of course, that looks like Smith is ready to fight Odell Beckham. Well, didn't happen. Smith went down early, and Odell Beckham, yes, began the game dropping the pass. But then he had a career day, ladies and gentlemen. 222 receiving yards for Odell Beckham Jr. OBJ, if you don't know his name. Then Eli Manning, not only did he get his 300th touchdown in his career, but he also won his 100th game. Joe Flacco had an opportunity at the end of the game with the Ravens needing to score. He would go deep. And many people did not see that Brashard Perriman was actually held. They saw when he went to prevent the interception and he jumped over the back. I mean, as a wide receiver, that's what you're supposed to do. However, the ref saw it, and that's what matters most. So now the Ravens have an opportunity to win the game. Unfortunately, Flacco, Aiken cannot connect, and the Ravens drop a third game in a row. There was a play in the beginning of the fourth quarter that's going to haunt the Ravens for the entire week. John Harbaugh decides to go for it instead of kicking a field goal, which would have put the Ravens within one, and it would have given them an opportunity to make up that ground later. Plenty of time left on the clock. Instead, the Ravens decided to go for it, come up short. Third week in a row where this argument can be made. Why are we leaving points on the board? It's not like the Ravens have an unproven field goal kicker. They have Justin Tucker, who arguably is the best kicker in the league. He hasn't missed one yet this season. Instead, Ravens come up short. They have an opportunity later in the game to win it, but just like the past 2 weeks, they fall short. And the Ravens have lost 3 in a row after a red-hot start, 3-0, which some of those wins was questionable, but they got it done. These last 3 weeks, they didn't get it done, ladies and gentlemen. So now the question is, what do? Are you still blaming Mark Trestman? Or are we going to finally see Marty Ball? Here's something to think about. Ravens didn't necessarily win their first game after they fired Cam Cameron. Do anybody remember Flacco when they got hammered by the Denver Broncos? A team, in fact, they would later come in and, they would later go to Denver and win, and which might be one of the best games in Ravens history. Ironically, they faced the Giants the week later, clinched the division, and the rest is history, went on to win the Super Bowl. We all know that every time they lose to the Redskins, they win the Super Bowl. That means it's happened twice, 20 years. So, nonetheless, that's just here or there. Ravens got to get it together. They will return to the Meadowlands next week to go against the New York Jets. The best thing about looking at this game is perhaps the Ravens have found their go-to guy under it, who can have the hot hand. Terrence West, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns, over 20 attempts. So maybe he is the guy you also have this to think about. The Pittsburgh Steelers lost. They got hammered by the Miami Dolphins. The Cincinnati Bengals lost. And the Cleveland Browns, which they're never a factor in most cases, nonetheless, Cleveland's been feeling real good about themselves. If you've been under a rock, they won the NBA championship, and who knows, they're up 2-0 in the American League Championship Series. So maybe they'll get back to the World Series. Nonetheless, they lost also. Lost a close game to the Titans. So they have an opportunity. The best thing about the Ravens is they're not out of the division. They're only 1 game behind the Steelers. And next week is an AFC matchup. These are the important matchups. The best thing to look at is 2 of their losses are to the NFC teams. So we'll see next week, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're following Fox Sports 1340 at 1340 AM Fox Sports on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you're liking our fan page. And while you're doing that, make sure you're liking my fan page, Brian H. Waters. Make sure you're following me on Twitter and Instagram. Same thing. Until the next time, I'm Brian H. Waters. So long, everyone.